Morphegenix podcast is it's a podcast that interviews or talks with and has discussions with people in the agribusiness as well as the food industries. So it's our aim is to have discussions and interviews with people doing interesting things in those industries. So I'm very happy to have you as a guest today on the podcast.
Yeah, how much? I'm not sure if you have the figures, but how much would that equate to a normal sized farm, a 58,000 square foot operation?
Yeah, that's well, again, it depends on the crop that we're cultivating, because we are higher density, and obviously being able to shorten the crop cycle time gets us or pushes us close to a quarter section of land or production, depending on the plant, right? And that's per harvest, which is really quite extraordinary. So, in terms of greenhouse gas offsets, setting aside the fact that we're eliminating the carbon offset credit for flying food, assuming that that's already been accounted for, we've eliminated the need to till the land. We've eliminated the need of having to get a diesel tractor and everything else that's required to harvest that crop on property. We don't have a risk of contaminant, so we don't need to use a pesticide. Our nutrients are micro use, and so the amount of nitrogen that we have to use is a fraction compared to an outdoor farm. And because of that, we are highly economized within a very confined space. Whereas the farm, we don't have that. The other thing too is I can control the nutrient exactly to each of the habitats, whereas on farm I can't. The north quarter to the south quarter to the west quarter to the east quarter are going to all be different soil types, moisture levels, and even the amount of sunshine that they might get depending on whether they're on hillside. I don't have to worry about that, and that gives us a lot of economy of scale over a quarter section.
Absolutely. That was also another question of mine. Sunshine, I mean, how do you control that?
Right, so we are using the current versions of the LEDs, which are obviously a lot more energy efficient than the early versions. And I have been working with the earliest versions for 8 years now, so we know them very well. We know the main manufacturers very well. And what really worked well for us is also understanding exactly, not just the nanometer range that each plant needs, but its luminosity that it needs. How much active illumination must the plant have in order to thrive? And so having an LED where we can dial it up or dial it down, whether we can lower the lamp to get closer as it's a much smaller plant, whether it's higher, makes best use of that light. Also within the habitats themselves is fully reflective screen. So being able to bounce the light around the habitat to every corner of that plant, including the underside of the leaves, really help it cultivate a lot more than they would if they were simply outdoors. So we took the lessons of Mother Nature and we optimized them for the LEDs that we use.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful talking to you. I think you are a breadth of information. I could have thought it was like a 5-minute discussion.
Well, I love the topic, and I really appreciate the opportunity, Tinashe. I love your podcast, and I love the fact that you're getting this information out to the globe. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. If you found this information useful, please click the like button, and please subscribe to receive new information from the food and agribusiness industry. Thank you. Goodbye.